Hey guys, I'm back making a Pokemon video again, 2 days in a row, which is not something I thought I'd be doing, but this is an idea for a video I've wanted to do for a really long time, and it's turning Backrooms entities into Pokemon, because that seems like an interesting idea, right? Because Backrooms entities are pretty diverse, and I feel like they provide like a lot of potential inspiration for like Pokemon and stuff, or I guess Fakemon in this case. So that's what I decided to do today. And the first one, I decided I would take inspiration from the Neighborhood Watch. If you don't know what the Neighborhood Watch is, it's a entity that floats around in level 9 and like basically guards the level. And like if it catches you, it literally incinerates you, which seems a bit overkill, but that's kind of how everything in the Backrooms is. And I decided to mix that with security cameras, right? They can both move around and they can both detect things, although I don't think security cameras typically incinerate people, but you know, creative liberties, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to this one. I didn't do too much else crazy stuff, just kind of took inspiration. I changed the lens of the camera to an eyeball to work in the Neighborhood Watch, and I also changed the wires and stuff to like these natural looking like weird creepy limb-esque things, because I felt like that kinda like made it more creepy, because you know, Halloween special, Backrooms, you know, that whole thing. And I do hope you think this design's okay, because you know, it's not perfect, obviously. I think I kind of messed up with the shading a bit, but I think it turned out okay overall, and I'm fairly happy with it myself. And this is Camich. It's a combination of camera and watch, because for some reason that's the best I could think of, because I kind of am stupid. It's a Psychic Steel-type Pokemon, and it's the Psychic Guard Pokemon. It was a Pokemon that was bred in ancient times to help them guard like fortresses and stuff, but then like scientists developed like security cameras, which were in the Pokemon universe, like in my Pokemon universe, I guess, were made like to sort of be an improved version of Camich. And now that it's basically been replaced by technology, it finds random places that it decides is its territory and chooses to guard them. It has a signature ability, which is Internal Justice, where it does 20% extra damage against fire, dark, and poison type Pokemon, as those are things it considers villainous, while doing 20% less damage towards fairy, water, and psychic type Pokemon, as those are things it considers morally good and therefore doesn't want to hurt as much. The signature move simply like makes like detection based moves a bit more efficient, because it's a camera, you know, it's a camera eyeball, so it's really good at detecting things, so giving it a move that could boost any type of detection based move just made sense to me. And yeah, I hope you like the design. The next one I wanted to design was one based around a bit more of an iconic Backrooms entity. Specifically, I decided to go for the Smilers. Smilers are probably the most recognizable Backrooms entity alongside things like Partygoers. And Smilers, if you don't know, basically they're glowing faces in darkness that, you know, lurk around and stuff, and they ambush you, and I've heard they even can strangle you, although I'm not sure on that one, so I didn't really include that anywhere in the design. And I thought of something that would shine a bright light, like, what else would shine a bright light, right? Like, and I thought of anglerfish. Anglerfish makes sense, right? It's a thing with a bright light that it uses to lure in small fish to eat them, and that's very similar to the Smiler, and so I'd say this concept works pretty well, and it's kind of full circle, and yeah, I'm pretty proud of this one as well. These ones are a lot better than my last video. So here's Angrin. It's Angry, Grin, Angler, and I'd say that works pretty well. Angrin, basically I just used the stalking strategy of Smilers, but kind of applied it to the design of this Pokemon, so that's pretty simple. The ability, I thought it would make sense for, like, its evasiveness to be upped when the Pokemon is tired, because, you know, Smilers are great at dodging attacks, and they're really only weak to really sharp, blunt objects, and it's incredibly hard to attack them. Incredibly sharp, blunt objects. I just contradicted myself. Anyway, incredibly sharp objects. And so they're very hard to attack, and especially since they kind of seek out you, especially when you're tired. So its evasiveness is upped. And then for its signature attack, I thought it would make sense if, like, when it goes that move, its evasiveness would be upped and it would make the Pokemon tired, sort of as a reference to its Pokédex entry discussing how it, attacks by stalking them and making sure they're tired before lunging at them. And of course, since they're tired, they can't attack as well, hence the evasiveness and the tiredness. Overall, I'm pretty proud of this Pokemon. I forgot to mention its category is the Dark-faced Pokemon, because I thought that made fairly enough sense, and it's a Dark Water type, because that just checks out. For the final Pokemon, I decided to do something a bit more interesting. So I based it off of the Death Moths from, the Backrooms, obviously. And Death Moths are interesting for one particular reason to me. And that's that there's a difference between the male and females, and that being that the males are usually the smaller, more easily tameable ones that are significantly less aggressive, and the females are the big, rulers of the kingdom, kind of like how ants and bees kind of have that whole thing going on, and apparently termites do as well. So I thought I'd do a gender difference Pokemon where the males are smaller, tiny little workers that are forced to do all the attacking and the scavenging, while the females were bigger and more fancy and had better attacks, but were more lazy, so they'd be slower. I thought that was kind of a unique idea, and I thought that the concept kind of made sense, right? You take the things themselves and you up the gender difference and you kind of apply it to the same type of difference that creatures in the real world have. And overall, I'd say that kind of made it check out as an interesting design, and I think it made it distinct enough from all the others that it didn't end up being really weird or boring, because I know the concept of doing the Death Moth is a little bit more boring than a lot of the other ones, but I think I was actually able to make it work pretty well. And here is Demeth, or more specifically, male Demeth. It's bug flying, and both of them are the Dust Moth, and both of them are bug flying. The male Demeths, as previously stated, are the ones that basically worship the queen, or the females, not really queens, and do all the fighting and gather all the resources for the colony. And it typically also likes to look for fancy things like berries to gift to the queen, or the females, to try to help them find mates and stuff. And I also decided to say that they're more typically found in the dry and uninhabitable-ish areas, to sort of say that they're taking the less comfortable areas so the females can live in the more fancy and nice areas, because it's one of those types of colonies. And overall, I'd say that this is a fairly mediocre Fakemon. And finally, we have our female Demeths. I don't think I explained the meaning behind Death Moth. The Demeth name, it's Death, Moth, and Demon. If I already did, then that's the second explanation. But I mainly wanted to explain how the female Demoths, are a lot more spoiled than the males. They have a lot more attitude, and they'd be a lot more difficult to train. Their moves themselves would be stronger, but because they think they're too good to battle and they think that they're too good to really do anything, they probably would be kind of a pain to actually use. And I don't know, maybe at some point in the future I should do an evolution, to sort of redeem female Demoths and, that whole thing. But for now, I just wanted to sit with this sort of spoiled, fussy princess type thing going on. And really the only thing I changed but design-wise is made it a bit more bigger and fluffier, because it's kind of weird to do gender differences that make it more feminine looking, because it's a bug. It's not really a human. It's a freaking bug. So I just made it bigger and fluffier, kind of like the differences with, real life male and female animals, how in colonies with the female's the dominant one, it's typically simply just bigger and not really pink and all that, how people like to make the male-female differences in modern media. So that's my take. Yay, that's the last one. And that's it. Good job. You made it to the end of the video. And I had a lot of fun making this, as it's a video I've wanted to make for a very, very long time now. I don't know, I just thought the idea of turning Backrooms into using Fakemon was like a fun idea. And I'm glad I finally got the opportunity to do this. And, you know, Halloween came pretty perfect for me, at least in my opinion. But I have a proposition for you guys. If you guys like this video, how about we hit a goal for 20 likes. If this gets 20 likes, I will do a sequel. I will turn more Backrooms entities into Pokemon. Feel free to leave suggestions, like if you want to see the party goers, if you want to see other entities get turned into Pokemon. And I do want to do more Fakemon videos in general, so this definitely won't be the last you see of me, at least Fakemon ones. And I do hope you enjoyed, and if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and maybe subscribe if you want to. I don't really care. And goodbye, and I love you all.